Think of a city. It could be a specific city or an aspect of a city. What goes into making a city? You probably think of skyscrapers, crowds, tourism, cars, and the roads they drive on. And maybe transit came to mind too. But what about parks? And I mean like natural landscapes within cities. These are probably the most non-city-like spaces in cities. So why? I mean, what's the point of having these natural areas anyways? We're going to answer this by looking at some of the parks in my city, Calgary, Canada. In the future, I'd like to do a deep dive into each of these parks, how they're managed, and how they benefit us. But for now, we'll just scratch the surface with a little bit of an introduction and a brief visit to some of my favorites. First stop, the Inglewood Bird Sanctuary. More than 270 species of bird have been spotted here. And if you think 270 is a lot, well, 347 plant species call this area home, and a bunch of mammals too. Preserving natural spaces within a city provides habitat to plants and animals that otherwise would have been driven out. This helps keep cities from becoming sterile environments made solely of concrete and housing only humans and our pets, and some pigeons, and rats if you don't live in Alberta. When I was visiting this park, one of the staff was telling me it's like a motel on the side of the highway. Most of the birds don't live here, but rather pass through on their migratory journey. In order to create a habitat for all these different creatures, bicycles and dogs aren't allowed in the park, except for assistance dogs, of course. It's also very important to follow signs and stay on the designated trail. When visiting natural areas, I find it helps to think of myself as a guest. Our next stop is Ralph Klein Park in southeast Calgary. While Inglewood Bird Sanctuary was preserved, Ralph Klein Park was created. This is a man-made wetland. According to the City of Calgary, it was constructed specifically to improve stormwater quality before it enters the Bow River system. A natural park created to improve water quality? Water resource management is one of the major responsibilities of cities. It requires a lot of coordination with others, both upstream and downstream, and thinking about the past, present, and future use of our water resources. This will be the subject of some future videos, so stay tuned. Like many of the parks on our journey today, Ralph Klein Park also features an interpretive center, which my sister thinks looks a little dystopian, especially at this time of day. Now we're going to take a quick trip to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, where Dominic's going to tell us a little bit about a natural park there.
Hey, you're seeing me being featured in this video. That's because I want to demonstrate a similar example of what Alex is talking about in his video. This is the Meewasin Trail network that runs along the riverbank of the South Saskatchewan River in Saskatoon. This trail promoted the city to be the city with the largest access to its waterfront in North America. In 2013, National Geographic listed it as the 50 Places of a Lifetime Canadian edition. The trail network is an excellent example of the integration between active transportation infrastructures and preservation of green spaces and natural ecological systems. People can use this trail to go for a leisure walk, commute, and learn about the local ecological systems, especially the beavers and the tallgrass prairies, both of which are not seen much in other prairie cities in Canada. The Meewasin Valley Authority, the agency that manages and maintains Meewasin Trail, is pushing forward for the trail to become an urban national park, which will create even more opportunities for education, tourism, and biodiversity. Back to you, Alex. Thanks for the feature.
And thanks for joining me, Dominic. I'll be featured in one of Dominic's videos on his More Than Transit YouTube channel later this week. I'll be talking a little bit about inclusive playgrounds, so make sure you check out his channel. In the meantime, there's plenty of other videos to watch over there. Next is Fish Creek Provincial Park. This is the second largest urban park in Canada, and it runs the entire length of Fish Creek in Calgary and incorporates much of the Bow River. Like the Inglewood Bird Sanctuary, Fish Creek Park is home to a plethora of wildlife. But one of the particularly major features of this park is its use for transportation. Yes, it assists in the permeability of the city, creating a corridor for animals to pass through, But it's also great for human transportation, just like the Meewasin Valley, by both bike or even skis. Cycling here sure beats cycling here. The paved pathways in Fish Creek Park link up to the Bow River Pathway, which links to many more neighborhoods, including downtown. It's also a great place to stay for a while, with plenty of benches, picnic tables, and even a restaurant. Not to mention the visitor center that tells the story of the history of the land and the people who've called it home. Now let's head back north for a view of the city skyline and a massive grassland surrounded by 12 residential neighborhoods. Nose Hill Park. This park, like Fish Creek Park, is huge. It's 11 square kilometers huge. Now that doesn't really mean anything though, so here's a map of Calgary. Go ahead, I'm sure you can spot both Nose Hill Park and Fish Creek Park, and the next park we'll be visiting too. This park features plenty of biking and hiking, and a Blackfoot Confederacy landmark. This is something I'll explore in a video of its own. But if you'd like to look at this more, I've linked a helpful PDF in the description. Another unique Calgary park and our final stop is the Glenmore Reservoir and the different parks that surround it, including Weaselhead Flats, North Glenmore Park, and South Glenmore Park. On the water, you'll find the SS Moyi, a half-size replica steamship powered by diesel and operated by Heritage Park, a local and massive outdoor museum, and personally one of my favorite places in the city. You'll also find plenty of canoers, kayakers, and sailors enjoying a day out on the water. Back on land, you'll find plenty of people walking, biking, and once again, skiing. This park also features especially beautiful autumnal colors, thanks to a variety of flora found here. And although this video is mostly about the natural beauty of these parks, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Rocky View Hospital, found on the same eastern shore as Heritage Park. So, why natural parks in cities? Well, they encourage biodiversity, they foster physical and mental well-being, they facilitate the travel and meeting of humans and other animals. They preserve and share history. And they're just nice to have. Although they do harbor Canada geese. There are a lot of parks I'd like to visit and discuss in future videos, so make sure you're subscribed. And don't forget to check out Dominic's video on playgrounds. Thanks for watching. And remember, our cities can be better, and you can make it happen.